Welcome back to One Ride on This Roller Coaster. This is going to be another short ride. It's going to be a little more solemn. It wasn't a pleasure trip, but it was something that I had wanted to do since I had read Night by Elie Wiesel when I was in junior high, and that was to visit Auschwitz. I was able to do it. It was an all-day thing, and it was probably one of the most touching places that I've ever been. It's a very powerful memorial. So I hope everybody is able to kind of take on board what this is. It's not an enjoyable thing, but I definitely think it is something that should be shared with all of us so that we understand what took place during the war. Arbeit macht frei. Work sets you free. This was a sick joke by the Nazis on those they imprisoned, giving them the hope that if they worked hard, then one day that they would be set free. The sign you see here is a replica of the original, as the original was stolen by a group of neo-Nazis a few years ago, and when finally found, it had been cut into 3 pieces. The camp you see is Auschwitz I. And Auschwitz I was originally a Polish army post until the Blitzkrieg and the Nazis had conquered Poland. To deter escapes from the camp, whenever someone did escape, the Nazis would execute 10 people. In one such case in 1941, a man screamed, "My wife and my children," and a Catholic priest named Maximilian Kolbe stepped up and said that he would take the man's place, and the Nazis allowed him. To execute the priest, they were going to starve him to death. And after 14 days, when he had not died, the Nazis went ahead and gave him a lethal injection of carbolic acid. The twist to the story is the man that Saint Maximilian gave his life for lived to be 94 years old as he died in 1995, 54 years after he had been condemned to die. Auschwitz I didn't have the capacity to carry out the final solution, so they were forced to build Auschwitz-Birkenau, which was about 3 kilometers away from the original camp. And after building the camp, they realized that they needed to be more efficient in the carrying out of the murders of the Jews, so they extended the line to be closer to the gas chambers and the crematoria. At its peak, the Germans were killing 6,000 Jews a day, and by November of 1944, 2 months prior to its liberation, the Nazis had killed over 1 million Jews and tens of thousands of other ethnic undesirables. This rail car was restored and placed at the Alte Judenrampe, where the Jews would empty out of the rail car and be assessed by Dr. Mengele, the angel of death, and he would decide whether they would live or die. A Hungarian Jew, Hugo Lowy, refused to leave his prayer tallit and tefillin, and the Nazis beat him to death. His son, Frank Lowy, with others, paid for its restoration, and once the car was placed at Auschwitz, Frank placed his own prayer shawl and tefillin in the rail car to remember his father. What we see here is the view from the famous guard tower from where the trains would enter Auschwitz-Birkenau, and you're looking out over the camp itself. This is just one view. As you look at the end of the rail, that is the picture we were looking at a few minutes ago, and it just gives you an idea of how big the camp was. When the camp was originally built, it was built to hold over 100,000 people, and at the time of liberation, the Nazis were expanding it to hold 150,000. A few years ago, they had found some designs and plans to where the Nazis were going to build Auschwitz-Birkenau. They were going to build it out to where it would hold over 175,000 prisoners to be executed. There are 20 plaques like this one near the end of the rail line where the gas chambers and crematoria were. I say crematoria because there were multiple. And these 20 plaques all carry the same message, but are in the 20 known languages spoken by everyone murdered at Auschwitz. Forever let this place be a cry of despair and a warning of humanity, where the Nazis murdered 1.5 million men, women, and children, mainly Jews, from various countries of Europe. Auschwitz-Birkenau, 1940 to 1945. Auschwitz would be liberated by the Soviet Army on January 27, 1945. This camp was a place of killing for 55 months. All right, everybody. If you have a chance to go to Poland, I and if you have the heart for it, I definitely recommend making a visit to Auschwitz. Like I said, it is a very solemn place, and just remember that it was the Jewish people that had been freed from Auschwitz that wanted to turn this into a memorial. They wanted it to remain so that the world would remember, and it is important that we go visit it so that we all do remember, and that the next generations remember it as well. So until next time, everybody look out for yourselves, take care of your families, and enjoy the holidays.